case, because no matter how much harm reduction as a theory is correct, right? Because it is correct. The Democrats are better than the Republican Party. I will never vote for a Republican. I will never tell anyone to vote for a Republican. I will always tell people not to vote for Republicans, which is what I stressed throughout the election cycle. Most people don't operate on harm reduction.
Hi, Hasan. First of all, I wanted to thank you for buying your new soundboard recently. Of course, it only has one sound. But it has changed my life. Anyway, my question is the following. Online political spaces often reward the most confident or extreme takes. How do you try to maintain intellectual honesty in an environment where saying, "I don't know," doesn't always perform well?
It's a great question. I say I don't know all the time. So I don't know why I've been able to achieve success, regardless of like being very open about my the limits to my knowledge. As a matter of fact, I have crippling self-doubt all the time, and I do feel like some people take advantage of that. Like oppositional figures take advantage of that to present me as someone who is not very knowledgeable and present themselves as like confident orators who are very skillful, who are very knowledgeable on issues that they don't know anything about. Having said that, I think honesty is the best policy, and you should stay true to yourself. And if there's an issue that you're oblivious on, you just go do the reading and figure it out, and be open with people, be honest with people.
Hi Hasan, I've been watching for a long time, so it's crazy that you're here. As someone who's not in legacy media, sometimes gets featured on Sky News Australia, like how do you feel like people are getting, with the introduction of like podcast spaces, Twitch streamers, and YouTubers, how do you feel like that space is changing and influencing people like us, and how do you see it changing in the future?
Yeah, it's both good and bad. The good is what we saw with the pressure campaign and the awareness shift away from unconditional support to Israel to recognizing the plight of the Palestinians. That was a good thing, and that would not have happened without independent media. Mainstream media has been very pliant to the interests of the State Department, which unfortunately align with Israel's goals of death and destruction. The bad is there's a lot of bad faith actors out there, there's a lot of grifters out there, and there's a lot of people who are taking advantage of the lack of interest from the market in being honest. And this has created an environment where there is basically no consensus reality. It's very destabilizing. So I don't know what the actual solution to this problem is. I just feel like you just have to engage in media literacy to the best of your ability, and to make sure that you have a healthy media diet of a diverse array of opinions, and you're still taking advantage of the readily available mainstream resources as well. I try to stress the importance of that in my commentary every day. I don't necessarily just across the board shit on mainstream media and say don't listen to the New York Times ever, but I try to hold your hand through the process of reading the news, of understanding the news, while also showcasing the biases that these supposedly independent outlets actually have. But they are still very relevant. They still have journalists, they have massive teams, even though they're getting smaller and smaller, like with what the Washington Post turned into under the leadership of Jeff Bezos, the ownership of Jeff Bezos. But as long as they still exist, you just gotta take advantage of it to broaden your understanding of the world.
Hello. So during the last New York City mayoral election, you criticized Democrats like Chuck Schumer for withholding their support for Zoran Mamdani. Yet during the 2024 election, you were extremely hesitant and qualified in your support of Kamala Harris, and constantly tell people to not vote for what is the only anti-Trump American party. So my question is, do you regret not enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris? given you exercise tremendous sway amongst American leftists, obviously. Put more broadly, do you think you could better leverage your platform to help anti-Trump candidates win elections, even when those candidates' platforms don't necessarily align with your views? Do you think the Democrats need to become a full-fledged socialist party?
Well, I work with a lot of candidates who aren't full-fledged socialists. I mean, I've literally just had a billionaire on, and he very clearly is not a socialist, as he communicated to me over and over again. But I work. The majority of the candidates I work with, as a matter of fact, are not socialists at all. I mean, Abdul Al-Sayed in Michigan, he's not a socialist. Love him. I think he's great. Because, once again, like I've said over and over again, I'm pragmatic. And one thing I will say, as far as the Chuck Schumer versus me dynamic, is it's very simple. Zoran was a great candidate, and that's why Chuck Schumer should have endorsed him as the leader of, it's one of the leaders of the Democratic Party. And I, as a Twitch streamer, don't think that I had the responsibility to endorse Kamala Harris, especially when Kamala Harris herself made no investment whatsoever in trying to secure the votes of people like myself. The other side of that story, of course, is that no matter how much sway I have amongst the leftist masses, which I don't think I have that much sway, and overwhelming majority of my audience ended up voting for Kamala Harris, reluctantly, albeit. But the reality of the matter is I can't outflank the party. If Kamala Harris is communicating to the broadest base of support that she can with a multi-billion-dollar, or the billion-dollar campaign, basically, that she stands for $50,000 in tax credits for small businesses, and a continuation of the genocide, a continuation of Biden's horrible legacy, then I can go on my Twitch stream and be like, guys, what you're hearing from Kamala Harris is wrong. She actually is an anti-Zionist. She's principled on this, and she's going to dissect and destroy the Zionist entity piece by piece. But I'd just be a liar at that point, right? And most people would just look at that and go, okay, well, I'm not getting that from her at all. And now I don't even trust you any longer, right? And that's what I always try to stress to people, this idea that we as individuals bear a larger weight, a larger a piece of the responsibility as opposed to the party itself. If the party chooses to communicate what they're about, we can't really outflank them and then lie to one another and lie to ourselves that the party's actually going to represent different values. And no matter how hard we do that, most people that are completely outside of our reach, normal people, working class people that turn on the television and remember that there's an election every 4 years, they're going to see a TV ad and they're going to be like, oh, I guess this is what's going on. This is what Kamala Harris is about. It's not exactly enthusing me to go out and vote for her, and they're just going to stay at home. This is very important for Democrats to understand. I try to stress that to them all the time when I talk to them in private meetings, when I talk to them in person on camera, is that like you have to have a positive vision, and you have to make your case, because no matter how much harm reduction as a theory is correct, right? Because it is correct. The Democrats are better than the Republican Party. I will never vote for a Republican. I will never tell anyone to vote for a Republican. I will always tell people not to vote for Republicans, which is what I stress throughout the election cycle. Most people don't operate on harm reduction. They want to hear something that they want to vote for, rather than vote against the terrifying nature of the Republican Party. I could talk about this for hours, but I mean, that's the short and sweet of it, really.
Because of time, we have to move on to our final question right now.
Oh, okay. A lot of pressure. Make this good.
Okay. Hi, Hasan.
I have to pee really bad, guys. So I'm kind of glad that this is going to go ahead.
It's the monster energy. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Your
It's coursing through me.
Your broadcast inspired me to study economics in college, like many of us in this room. However, I've come to realize most of my coursework assumes a liberal capitalist framework, and I don't know how many more times I can maximize a profit function. I was wondering if you had any academic resources that you recommend to study socialist theory for someone kind of disillusioned with the topic.
As far as Marxian economists goes, I mean, Richard Wolff is one, Yanis Varoufakis is another. They have a lot of work on the subject. There's also, much more dense material out there that's boring that I, as a non-econ major, have not even thought about reading. But it's important to understand capitalism and how it functions. A guy by the name of Karl Marx was obsessed with it and wrote volumes about capitalism. So I don't think that learning econ or studying econ is a bad thing at all. I think it's actually a good thing. It's important to have a decent understanding of it. And I feel like there are some advanced courses in most college campuses that finally allow you to develop a deeper understanding of alternative modes of production or different systems. But yeah, the entry levels are usually going to be just liberal capitalism. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out again. Join our list here, follow us on Instagram, and have a great night. Thank you.
Sorry for the. Oh, thanks. Yep. Sorry for those hiccups, chat. I want to fucking jump, but hopefully it was still good.
Oh my God, I have to be so bad.
I think the closest bathroom.
Yeah, well, we'll just run over there, but we'll, there's a meet and greet after this, right?
So we didn't announce it because we didn't want people just like start crowding the stage. We figured usually after events,
Hell yeah.
like that's everything. People come up to the stage and try to say hi.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to the bathroom real quick.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna end the stream as well right here. Thank you, everybody. Tomorrow, like I said, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, the Jam Podcast boys, they're gonna be on. And I'll obviously do my regular news coverage as well. But yeah, thank you for sticking around. I'm only now starting to feel the Monster Energy drink, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go do a meeting right now and then